Great intro, huh? I love it when that happens.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Hearing in Colour with Matt Simon. Today we have a special guest. This is TommyBOIII with 3 eyes. That's how he spells it, and he's probably a reference to his third eye as well. So Tommy is a musician. I met him in London at the Guitar College, and he's also doing well now online with affiliate and multi-level marketing. So as a musician, he's wielding a special power in that he is not broke right now. So we're going to be talking about that, how to market yourself, and how to get over the shame barrier that a lot of musicians feel with trying to put themselves out there and earn some money. We feel that's a fair intro?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I mean, I like how it sounds.
Is
Let's
there
just
anything
go
else?
with that.
Would you like to add anything else, or is that sufficient?
No. Well, there's much to explain. So let's just, go straight in.
Let's first talk a bit about your musical ideas and credentials. So you play guitar and sing a bit, and you've written some music.
Yeah.
Been involved in some charity work, which has been awesome.
Yeah.
Would you like to talk about that or not?
Yeah, sure. Just a little bit about background. So this call, I really just want to talk about mindset, right? But you cannot get to acknowledging mindset until you've done a lot of things wrong, or wrong in a way to get you to a point in life where you start understanding that mindset is actually the thing that was missing back in the day when you were working your ass off tenfold when you could have just done it with onefold and work smarter.
Yeah, we said the other day when you said you were working in bars and you're a bit more flush financially, and then did some more music stuff, were broke again, and now you've sort of come around again. So it's a different mindset and just operating in a different way, which is, a lot of people haven't made that shift yet, or are looking maybe to do that. So could you dive into that a bit?
Yeah. I mean, musicians, because we're so, and I say we because I'm I still have the artistic and creative side going on all the time. I find that we as musicians, as artists, have this belief that we're actually now telling ourselves that money is actually bad. Having a lot of money is bad. That trying to earn a lot of money is bad. That we need to remain broke so that we can be a true musician or an artist at its finest peak of poverty and suffering. And all of that is just complete fucking bullshit.
It's romanticized, isn't it? Like the suffering artist, like you have to suffer emotionally and then financially. And it's a lot of people don't want to sell out. They don't want to do something that's purely commercial. They want to do their pure art, and then hopefully that makes money. But often people are so niche, or they're so bad at marketing themselves, that it's not really an option. So like way back in the day, people would have a patron, like Michelangelo for something, or Leonardo da Vinci was like hired by rich people to like paint stuff. But that doesn't really happen these days.
Right. And all that is romanticized also. Those days were hard. The guy was probably shitting in a pot, right? I mean, he was probably, there's some painters like in the Netherlands, obviously where I'm from. They were able to afford things, but that's like maybe a handful. All the other ones are like nowhere to be found, and there was thousands of them. You can't really go by the ones that peaked.
Yeah.
And even those were suffering in financial ruins, because they didn't know how to go about it. Me personally, I put music on hold a little bit because I wanted to. Like you said, I've been full-time musician and earning for about 20 years, right until a few years ago. And through that, I learned songwriting and really digging deep in my heart and my soul and learning about lyrics. I never enjoyed lyrics so much. I was more about hooks and melodies and drums and bass and guitars and beat and the production end of things, but never really vocals, vocal lyrical, content. And then I moved to the US and everything changed because I saw so much suffering happening. So I started writing about what I saw in the streets and what had been happening to my friends, specifically in the States now. I was full-time musician there. I was also, I wanted to become an entrepreneur in the States, but I was held back by me tearing myself between the starving musician and then trying to be successful financially. And that's like fucking with the universe, It's like, I hate money, but why don't I have money? It's because you hate money that you don't have any money. If you love money, if you love what it can do for you and for your family and for your surroundings and for the people that you're trying to help, and you say, I love money because I know what it can do to my family, right? Now you have a possibility of making a little bit of money for yourself, your family, and your dreams and your vision. That's the beginning element of acknowledging that actually money is a good thing. Look, that there's a guy over there who's greedy as fucking trying to screw everybody over. Screw that guy. He's not going anywhere in life. He doesn't have any friends. His family hates him. Like, that's not an example of the people who you and I are talking about. 99% of the people that we know would, especially the musicians, would just give everything away for a good deed. But it's because we have bills that we charge a little bit of our time for the skill that we have, But if it wasn't for that, we would just give it all away, man. So let's not go by the Donald Duck's uncle. What's his name?
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump's.
I don't know what. Oh no, Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah, the greedy uncle, right? I mean, that's what we see as when we're brought up. It's like every single inspirational speaker that is based on mindset will tell you that it is all about mindset. And I'm just going to only mention a few, okay? Les Brown, and okay, these are people to look up. If you think that mindset is not relevant to your success, you need to do homework, because all the people that are making it, whether it's music, hospitality, whatever business, everyone that is successful knows that it's down to mindset. Les Brown, Tony Robbins, Eric Thomas, Jim Rohn. You got to check out Jim Rohn. Eckhart Tolle, Darren Hardy, Brian Tracy, T. Harv Eker, Mel Robbins, Oprah Winfrey, Simon Sinek, Brendan Burchard, Zig Ziglar. I can go on for hours. Wayne Dyer. Oh my God, like, just YouTube him and watch him for an hour, and you will just be revolutionized mentally, and you will not be holding back on all of these old school minds, old school financial blueprint and old school mindset bullshit that is basically keeping everybody just over broke.
Yeah, it's changing their mindset, isn't it? Because people would see other people with wealth and think, oh, those arseholes have been given it, or they don't deserve it. But then it's not the wealth itself. Obviously, it's seeing that money is a tool that can be used, that can build schools, hospitals, churches. You can do whatever you want with it, or you can buy a yacht and go and party in the Caribbean with some play bunnies. But it's
If that's
it's
what
just
you
a
want to do,
thing.
you spare time.
Yeah, so the secret's out. Yeah, I'll see you there next week.
Okay.
But
One
yeah,
time.
it's we're probably both bored of the Caribbean by now. The cruise work.
Actually, I haven't been to the Caribbean.
Have you not?
Unfortunately. No.
It's quite nice. There's some good stuff there, but some bad things as well. It's like any place, I guess.
Of course. No, look, the people who have, and this is Obama's more. I mean, I'm not paraphrasing it right, maybe, but he stated the other day that it's the people that have reached the highest levels in the world that have failed the most and failed the hardest. A quick success, which happens, and it happened to me, happens sometimes, but very seldomly.
But
And
even then,
even then, it doesn't always stay up there.
And they say it takes years to become an overnight success. It's not something.
Yeah,
that
but this is the thing with success is that unless you talk about happiness and keeping it really simple and living in the forest and eating trees and leaves and drinking
maybe some berries,
maybe some berries. Like, okay, that's your success, that's your happiness. Good for you. Go do that. Don't do anything else. Go do that. That's fucking amazing. But if you're really trying to build empires and stuff like that, you're gonna keep on falling and collapsing and falling and collapsing and building and collapsing and building and collapsing. This is just the way it goes. It's a part of the thing. You cannot think that, oh, now I'm up here now. No, don't expect that, because you're gonna fall, and you're gonna fall 10 times harder than somebody that is ready for the fall. So if you're gonna go into entrepreneurship as an artist or as anybody, you have to be ready to sacrifice that about you, that it's an ego thing and it's an understanding thing. It's an acknowledgement thing. If you wanted to become an entrepreneur or a business owner, just assume that one day this might go wrong, and that you're going to have to get up again and keep fighting, because it's probably going to happen. It's more likely that it is going to happen than that it isn't. Do you think that 7-Up or Nike, okay, let's say 7-Up now, is overnight success?
I think maybe they did like 3 or 4 versions of it. Came to 5-Up, didn't work. 6-Up, didn't work.
That's
7-Up,
that's exactly how it happened. And do you know who was it was 6-Up. Okay, this is a random story, but going back to Trump for a minute, whether you like him politically or not, he's still done a few things in his life that were actually very credible. 6-Up was going on and it didn't launch. Somehow Trump was involved and he said, you got to keep going. I don't know. I don't know who that was. Yeah. It's a true story. And he was like, make it 7-Up and this time you're going to win. I don't know whose voice this is. Yeah. And they did. And there it went. And 7-Up became the Fido guy with the spiky hair.
It's got a bit more of a rhythm on it, hasn't it? 7-Up. But like 6-Up, it's not, doesn't flow as much.
6-Up, it's like, really? It's like, is it a lollipop?
5-Up's like a high five. 6-Up doesn't work. 7-Up, like 7-Up.
7-Up is wicked.
It's got a bit more of a vibe to it. Like, it's probably
fucking great number. So yeah, but like, so that there you go. It's like it didn't just happen. It's the same with musicians, like, or artists or singers or songwriters or whatever. When you finally hit the charts and you're like, okay, let's say you have a number one. It's like, oh yeah, the guy was an overnight hit. Yeah, overnight hit within that month, maybe, but the 40 years before that don't count.
Yeah, I think this is again why things like American Idol can be so damaging, because people see that and there is a kind of fakeness to it as well. Some people are literally pushed through management companies and like, right, we're going to like market you, but like pretend you're an unsigned artist, but they still get people, and some of the people still who get to the later rounds like this because they're professionals and they've had that stamina, they've been kicked down a few times and like built that resilience to get there. So you can't just look, but people love the sob story, like, oh, little Jimmy, like his grandma died but he was always singing in the shower, then his dog died but now he's on American Idol or Britain's Got Talent, and like, vote for him because people love the underdog, but it doesn't work like that, and you can't just jump out of something and not, and then just go into the. It's a high pressure world, and been to perform every night, and they're just not prepared for that.
No,
So a lot of it's very short lived because of that, because they just haven't. I'm not saying like paid your dues, as in like you don't deserve it, but it builds a lot of stamina physically from being able to perform a lot, and then resilience personally, and just be able to handle the kind of craziness, because then it's going to get even more crazy through the media.
Yep.
So you need to have been kicked around a few times to be able to handle that.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure there, but there's a lot of pressure now too. Like, even if you're like, I've got a few things in the pipeline. I'm not going to mention now what those are, and I haven't mentioned those to you privately either. But it's going to lead to I was going to say a mass extinction.
What have you been working on? Is that why you moved to Finland? You're like, right, I'll drop this in America. I should be far enough away from it.
A massive shift in everything I do, and it's all going to bring everything forward on a much grander scale. It's basically everything together that I'm doing, right? Everything is about to go to the next level. And but it's because, you know, the reason why I'm saying that now is because I've been through those tribulations now. You know, I've gone through that, like, hardcore heartache, actually, a lot of heartache, like a lot of letdown, you know, even like let down by myself as well, because there's a lot of guilt there as well, you know.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Like, burning time, for example. Just like, I remember, and I know it's important to rest, but you'd be surprised with how much you can achieve in just 365 days. If you just improve 1% a day, that's 365% a year. It's huge.
And with compound interest on that as well.
And compound at 20%.
Yeah.
All right. You know, my phones are going crazy right now. My phones are going crazy. No,
let's take another call. Oh, there's none. Story of my life.
Yeah. Is my phone even on? Wait, it's not.
Yeah, we've literally had a few emails about this. So I know we didn't.
Just answering some questions here.
It's okay to have, but yeah, it's okay to have slow periods in your life. But yeah, I've done that as well. Like, look back and think I could have spent my time better, especially when the pandemic hit. There's
Yep. Oh yeah.
I did a few YouTube things, but like I look back now, I was like, God, I could have done so much more with my time. But looking back is bad to say that, you know, like, but it's gone now. So
no, it's good. For those things, it's good because you are on fire right now doing stuff that I have never seen you do before. So it's because of you looking back and seeing,
yeah, I can see that.
And I need to get into my third, fourth, fifth gear with this, and not look like that guy that I was back then. I was the same with, actually, no, I wasn't.
You weren't that bad. You're like, I wasn't that bad. But
well, I wasn't that
sometimes.
bad. I wasn't that bad during the pandemic, during the lockdown, because we had a child at home, and Lisa, my wife, and we were both working from home at the time. And so we did like increments of 2 hours throughout the day. So the first 2 hours she would work, then I would look after the kid. The second increment, she would look after the kid and I would work. And then, back and forth 4 times a day. So you would have only increments of 2 hours every time, right? So you've got 2 options: is sleep or work. Ideally you would want to sleep, but you know that tonight you're going to be able to sleep. So for me, lockdown was a very structured shithole. What a fucking nightmare of a place that was, right? Jeez, it was horrible. It was horrible, but it builds you up, you know, and it makes you use that time wiser and connect with people who who are going to be there with you, you know. Like, yeah, I can burn 2 weeks on going out and drinking or whatever, but I don't want to. I've got goals, I've got a vision. My vision's really strong and my missions are now in place, you know. And those missions can be, replaced later too, as long as the vision stays strong. And so I don't really have time to go out and drink. I don't have time to hang out with people, and I don't have time to buy expensive stuff. I don't have time to, like, yeah, like unless it's like actually using that specific time for like therapeutically, actually, like, people work from Monday to Friday, and then Friday they get fucked up and spend $100 or whatever, and then try to recover for 2 days after that, and then actually not having rested at all and spend $100, so $400 a month, and then they're complaining about being extortionately tired and broke, and because they're just laying in front of a TV 3-4 hours a night. And you're like, yeah, but can you just analyze this situation? You want all these things, but you do nothing but complain. And you're expecting me to sit here and be with you every day and like hang out? No, I'm not going to hang out with you. Sorry. I don't have time. I'm on a mission. I have a vision. I got a family to fucking look after. My vision is very big. I'm not going to go into my vision now, but you've got to choose your time, right? And you got to work on yourself harder than work on the job that you're working, right? That's that Jim Rohn quote that I spoke about earlier. Like if you want to become an entrepreneur, you got to take it serious. Today, somebody called me and said, "Hey, I see what you're doing. I really love what you're doing. I want to leave my 9 to 5." And I was like, "Okay, here's the game plan. Are you ready for this?
Here's what it takes." Yeah.
6 months, no Netflix. You and your girlfriend, you're going to have to tell her, "Excuse me, sorry, listen, darling, do you want this life? Yes or no?" Of course, she's going to say yes. Okay, then these are the changes that are going to have to be made within the next 6 months. I'm going to call up all my friends that I normally hang out with, and I'm going to tell them I'm not going to be available for the next 6 months. After 6 months, we can talk again. No Netflix. Work on yourself harder than on anything else. Just keep working at it. If you want to become financial free, that is the key thing, is to throw your fucking TV through the kitchen cabinets
Or the window.
or the oven or the fridge.
Just put it in
Throw
the
the fridge through the TV.
oven.
You know what I mean? Like that's
along
the
those lines,
attitude.
yeah.
That's where you're going. If you want, and even if you want to become a musician and become successful, the same thing. Yes, rest. Yes, connect with nature and go for walks in the forest and all of that stuff and meditate. All those things are very important to rest, right? There is no development unless we rest. But if you want to get somewhere, you have to sacrifice some of the fun and the those kind of things.
It's funny because musicians will sacrifice a lot of time to practice. Like I did that a lot at college, like up to, because I had a hand injury and then had to catch up time. So I ended up doing 8 hours a day for the summer. So one summer I just basically didn't go out, just played 8 hours a day and then did that, which built a lot of technique, which is even if it fades a little bit, it's always in there. So I can recover that quite easily.
Yeah.
But then that's still kind of enjoyable, even though sometimes you do want to throw the guitar out the window. That still does take discipline, but then it's towards a definite goal musically. But then people won't want to put that amount of time into promoting themselves or working on the career or doing the other stuff that's required. But you need to manage your time. Like I could get through that 8 hours a day, and it was like a struggle towards like the last bit. But then knowing that, okay, after this I'm going to have dinner and like watch a bit of TV, because that's like the reward for doing it. Because you've put the work in, and there's I was watching a video recently. There's some guy in Australia who's just crushing it with his business, and his philosophy is time management is very important, and you can do too much of a grind. I mean, like for me personally, I can be working on stuff at home and just do like a 13-hour day doing stuff, but then your rate of productivity probably drops a bit, even though you don't realize it, and you might have been able to do that work in 8 hours or less. So his philosophy, see what you think about this, is you have like an intense period of like high productivity, like maybe an hour or 2 hours, and then you have like a little break and you allow yourself to play a bit, just kind of reset, so you're more focused during that time. You're not burning out, because obviously if you burn out then you have to rest and you're kind of wasting time. But I found that helps me that's working out quite well because I'm doing stuff, but then I need a little reward. Like, oh, I was going to like have a workout or have some lunch or something, but like it keeps like a high level of focus rather than trying to spread it all out and just like I've got to bust out 10 hours. But if it's 10 poor hours, it's not really
No,
worth it.
yeah, absolutely. And there is that. There's also an element that needs to be acknowledged here, is how many businesses are you running, right? Like if you are, like, what is your goal here? Is your goal is your goal to get to $10,000 a month? Is it? Do you have multiple websites to maintain? Do you have, and from that comes a lot of work.
Multiple
Uh,
social media as well can be quite a drain. Kind of, you don't want to be doing too many, and you're posting
it
the same
really
thing on
isn't.
each one. It's not worth it.
No, I would recommend, if 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 you want to succeed within a laser focused environment, which is the way to go first, is to stick with one platform, own it completely, learn how to do organic marketing, which is unpaid, right, for free, where you exchange your time for money, or your money for time actually, and then eventually learn paid ad as well, and succeed on that one platform. Know everything about it. It only takes like 10 hours to learn everything about it, right? So just go to YouTube and learn everything that you need to know. The latest information about whatever it is. Facebook organic marketing, Facebook paid ad, all of the business suites and stuff like that. It's super basic actually. Like you don't really need that much. It's just overwhelming to think about it for a
Yeah, on a
second.
tech level, it's quite easy to do.
It
Is
is.
what you
And
mean? Yeah.
all you need to know is your target audience, your absolute focus, like laser focused target audience. Who are you placing yourself in front of? Don't waste your time. So if you're not doing the research up front, it's going to take a lot of time because you're going to be falling back and forth, left, right, center. You're sitting there till 4 o'clock in the morning, wondering why your boosted, post, which you should not do, by the way, is not working. And it's only reached like 50 people, and you're there sitting there, pulling your hair out, by dying candlelight.
I
That
think
sounds really
yeah,
sad.
yeah,
But
we've
you know
all
what I
been
mean?
there.
Like, don't go and then also on Twitch and building a presence on YouTube and try and expect the same thing on Instagram and and all these things. Stay focused on one thing. If and when you're starting to make a decent income each month on the one platform, then start thinking about what is next, especially in the organic world, because you're doing a lot of socializing in the organic world if you want to succeed in organic social media marketing. So yes, it's good to have your thing set up, but don't expect to be able to push everything forward equally and fast. So if you've got the time, like I know that you're doing like a lot of things right now, and there's a lot of things that you're pushing forward, and it takes time and it takes effort, but you also know that this is not going to be an overnight thing, right?
Of course, yeah.
This is a beautiful time actually where you are right now. It's also where I am. Okay, maybe I'm like a few steps in front of you because I've been doing it every day for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Like I've relentlessly, like at least 8 hours a day. Boom, 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 boom. Website. What is Google? What is like, Google Analytics alone, understanding Google Analytics, that section there is like, okay, I need to know. But then the website and the GDPRs and the cookies and you need to know all this stuff or your sites will be shut down. So, there's a lot of stuff that you need to, so that's why I'm saying focus on one thing first and just go for it. I did it very much sporadic first and I burned myself out. I was doing 2 websites at the same time, 2 Instagram accounts, 3 Facebook pages. I don't know how many Facebook groups I was, running at the
Yeah.
time. My own Facebook profile, and then I said, "Fuck everything." Right? I'm just gonna focus on one thing. And what happened? Within 23 days of that, of just focusing on on just the one thing, within 23 days, After that, I had my first $10,000 a month straight away because I
And was
focused
that
on one
Facebook
thing.
for you?
Yes.
But that was just the platform you chose that you thought would be best at this time for what you're doing.
It was the one that I felt was most me.
I think that's
Like
very
where
important as well, because when people have different social media accounts and different platforms, they just kind of spam out the same content, and it's got to be you. And saw a really good video. Someone said people forget the social in social media. They're just like putting out content regularly and spamming it, and then people are like, oh hey, it's like walking into a room and like shouting and then walking out again. It's like there's no engagement there. You're just like chucking some leaflets in, like, right, I'll see you in an hour when the next update comes, because you're not
right.
engaging with people. So it's better to slowly engage to build that rather than just, and people can see that
Oh,
it's disingenuine as well.
absolutely. No, there's nothing behind it. There and you actually create distrust there because it's not only not building you up, but people are disconnecting with you. So the ones that are actually in your field already that
Yeah.
know you, like you, and trust you are actually starting to not know you really. They're like, what? Hold on, and dislike you, and definitely not trust you anymore because now you're just spamming these people. So be really careful with just blowing stuff up out there. I mean, I've done it in the past. I'm like, oh, stressed out at night. Quickly put a post out. Like, who the fuck's waiting for a post at this time of night? But
It is 24-hour
just
though, isn't it, around the world? So if you put something out,
true,
someone's going to look at it.
true, but still, like a stressed out post with like this energy
Oh,
behind
look at
it.
my new episode. Oh, bye.
Quickly post. Oh, now I can sleep. No, that's not going to convert. It's not going to convert. So, yeah, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't burn those bridges. Those are beautiful bridges that you've made. It's an absolute shame to do that, and be conscious of it. Like, there are real people on the other side reading your post. Like yesterday, a friend of mine died, and he was a good friend. He was my first mentor. My first mentor in my humanitarian ventures. And I just wrote a post like straight from the heart. Like, there wasn't anything there. Like, I didn't need to think about anything. It was just like straight. Here's a little poem, actually. It's like just something straight from the heart. I didn't think about it, and and that went over really well for people. Like, I didn't like, it wasn't my intention to gain from that, right? It was an expression, and also to bring the attention to my friends that know him as well, that our friend has passed. And when I woke, I realized I had all these beautiful messages, come back, because it comes from the heart. If it just says, so-and-so died, okay, now you have like, okay, sure. But if you're actually expressing yourself and speaking with your heart, not your mind, don't speak with your mind. Like, get your mind out of there. Speak with your heart. Speak from here, from your soul, from your, like from your gut and from your heart. It's a different conversation. It's a different conversation that you have. If you're overthinking what you're going to write, you're already going the wrong direction. You need to just start writing.
I think
and
it's
stop
also
thinking.
when you allow yourself to be vulnerable publicly, people can connect with that because that's the real person they connect with, and then they can say, oh, they feel the same as me, and it's okay for them as well. And things have changed a lot. I mean, if you go back, say, to like the 80s and like big rock bands touring, obviously music industry's changed massively in the business model there, but things could be a bit more distant, and now social media, mobile phones, you can take a picture of someone and like it's around the world. There's a bit more accountability as well, but things are very much more public. And then also now everyone's got that access. People want access more to their artists and their, the people they look up
access.
to. Yeah, so it could be like filming, short clips from your kitchen on your Instagram account, or like even if you're like a Hollywood A-lister or, that kind of thing. So people want more of that connection.
Yeah, I love that.
It's interesting what you just said about just speaking without thinking. There's when a friend of ours, like John, got married like years back, you weren't there, and you'd sent in some words to be read out, and a friend of his did that, and it was really funny because the guy said, "Yeah, I've got some words from Tommy, although it's more of just a stream of consciousness. Like there's no sort of structure, but it just kind of like. But it was really cool, like what you said. But it was but
Cool.
that was the way he would, because he was like, wow, this is a bit different. It just kind of like go. It wasn't like a, oh hello, yeah, that's my friend John. When I grew up, it was like just this like stream.
Straight in.
Yeah, no
Straight in.
filter, no worried about it. Just like let's go.
I remember, yeah. I think I was on the cruise ships then. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good example. At that point, there was no structure to anything in my life, actually, if I may say so myself. So, like writing and copywriting, writing copy, excuse me, although it's the same. But for us musicians, copywriting means something kind of different. I had to learn that sort of the hard way. But, writing copy, like actually, composing structured, context.
So by that you mean, just jump in for everyone, like that means like a marketing post. So instead of just writing like, oh hi, I've got a new course, it's just kind of like, hi, do you want this, and like, does this help you out? It's like writing that form. That's called copywriting or writing copy.
Correct. Yeah. Starting normally with a pain point, something that your target audience is struggling with, and that's why it's important to have an avatar
and solving that problem for them.
That's right. It actually always starts with your avatar. So if you've got Sarah, who's 55, who's single, she's got a dog, she wants to leave her secretary job because she's more passionate about taking photography in the Caribbean, then Sarah is going to be your, that's the one who you're going to be targeting. So you're going to be speaking to Sarah instead of Jonathan, who's 23, who's a rock star, who isn't looking for anything. That's just, wasted reach, really. So it's really important to have avatars for your business. Even as musicians, you have to have an avatar. And it doesn't just have to be one avatar. It can be multiple avatars as well. But you got to start with one. And the best avatar to start with is yourself. So
especially
for me,
with music, you write music for yourself, don't you? And your target audience when you start out, especially, is your own age group, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So for me, I write love songs. I write, and now I write conscious songs, very, very much about consciousness. And like, it's not so much about the hurt that's going on in the world, but I'm much more focused on the beauty, what's going on in the world.
Right.
So my target audience is also more mature, so there's no point in trying to target an 18-year-old who wants to jump around in a mosh pit versus a 55-year-old who likes, let's say, Sting and Peter Gabriel and maybe more sophisticated, music, right?
Well, that's what you resonate with more now, isn't it?
Yeah. And actually, I already resonated with that back in the day, but I was much more like Rage Against the Machine kind of style, even though I loved Elvis, and I actually, cried by candlelight to George Michael's Careless Whisper.
I think you've always had quite a wide listening palette.
Yeah.
Like mine's expanded, but mine was definitely a bit more narrow when I met you. Guitar college, just like rock, that sort.
Yeah, but you did appreciate everything though. Whatever we were playing, you were like, oh yeah. I remember you were doing a gig somewhere, and you were in a van with an English black guy, I think, or an African dude who was playing reggae music, and you didn't really grasp the reggae element yet until you were in that van. Whether that was intoxicated or not, I don't know.
Oh, but, yeah, I can tell the story of that. Yeah, so it's some tent work, and I was working on a building yard, so we're basically just unloading scaffolding poles and planks onto trucks into the warehouse, and then we tell them to take them out of the warehouse into the trucks. Very boring. Sometimes they go on deliveries, and so I'd sometimes ride along with them, and I'd never really heard Bob Marley in context, because I'd heard Bob Marley and I was like, it seems pretty good. But then there was all sorts of reggae on the radio, and like some was good, some wasn't great. And then a Bob Marley song came on, I was like, oh wow, now I get it. Like that is why he's that different. It's a bit like hearing like Elvis or Jimi Hendrix in context. If you listen to what was around at the time and then they came out, it's like a bomb going off. But if you compare like Elvis to Metallica, you think like, well, he's a bit like rock and roll. He's not that hardcore. But then if you look what else was going on, he just completely blew it away. So absolutely. Understanding it in context, you kind of hear it properly. Especially the rhythm section and the bass, of course. Family Man.
and those kind of people who 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 basically invented bass lines, because the transistor radios. I'm going off topic now, but I love it.
It's
The
all in the
transistor.
topic of general creativity, music,
Yeah, yeah,
energy. Like
yeah.
it's
But
all good. You're still on topic.
yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, I won't drift off too far. Back in the day, then this is Willie Nelson's theory, but I completely understand what he's talking about, and I think it's true. Back in the day, in Jamaica, they had transistor radios. They didn't have the big boom boxes with the subs and stuff like that. So the only thing that they were hearing was American music. So let's say blues, or let's say country music, right? So if you do not have the bass, like the 1/5 thing, then all you would have is the
Just the
mid
top end.
range,
Yeah.
and right. So what are you gonna do? So like if it was slower, that is a one drop.
You might have to do that a little bit louder on the mic because like all people are going to be hearing it. But yeah,
Right.
I can see
So
what you're saying.
because they were so limited with what they had to invent their own bass lines and their own backbeat, which was called a one drop, the famous one drop, rock steady, ska, reggae music. You know, those genres were invented there. They were inspired by world music. Let's just call it world music for now. Lame term, but and Caribbean music as well.
But
And
some
then
African origin in there as well.
oh yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely, and a little bit of splife.
I think that plays a big part in it because obviously not everyone in the Caribbean smokes daily and not all Rastafarians smoke weed, but it's hot out there, and if you are smoking weed, you're quite relaxed. And it's different kind of energy level to say someone in Siberia. I don't know, but it's
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you can see kind of where that vibe would come from, or where that would resonate with people there.
Right. Like the sun wouldn't have beat you down enough already, right? And now you're gonna go and smoke a spliff as well. You're like, oh, yeah, let's just lay here now.
Well, that's basically why reggae is not fast. It's like,
Yeah, 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 yeah. Rock steady is much more upbeat, and ska, reggae is slowed down ska, let's say, and rock steady is about halfway. You know, uh,
it's interesting how
that's
much drugs have influenced music because you take things like punk and like Motorhead and then like thrash metal, like speed. It's like
mm,
a big part of that because they were literally just like off the face on that, So it's
yeah,
that definitely
yeah,
pushed that. They did obviously want to push music a bit more aggressive than it had been before, but yeah, definitely chemicals were involved in that, and it wasn't
yeah,
the
and
slow
and
ones.
honestly, like you care less. I I didn't give a shit when I was on coke. I didn't give a shit when I was on weed. It's like I was doing everything else but what I needed to do. It was the same with booze. Like unless I was playing shows, um, I couldn't play shows on weed.
But
I
maybe it
did.
was what you needed to do because that was you wanted to experiment, kind of like experience it and kind of get it out of your system in a certain sense because it's one of those things like artistic suffering, like getting high or getting wasted is kind of romanticized. Oh, that's something you've got to do as an artist, but you obviously wanted to experience that, and then once you have, you're like, okay, that's cool, that's what it is, but then I don't need to do that every day. And I think that you don't need to be on drugs to make good art,
No,
but
you don't. You
I
don't.
think that people who are very creative, who are willing to push more boundaries and go further and explore things, generally are more likely to experiment with drugs and drinking too much and do those kind of things. So you don't need to do that, but I think the sort of people who are more open-minded generally, if the Venn diagram, like some of those interesting people will take drugs, and if people who are totally against drugs, which is fine, they can still make good art, but then they might just have less interesting things that they've been involved in, or they're less likely to push boundaries and go outside the box. And
Yeah.
yeah, do you get what I'm saying? Does that make
Yeah.
sense,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
what are your thoughts
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. When I saw myself in 1999, I think it was, we did this massive show in the north of Spain, at this at this square, and I don't know, like 10,000 people or something like that, and we were doing everything under the sun in his hotel room, like, which we never did. But for that show, suddenly we were like all over the place.
Rockstar
And
mode.
so, rockstar mode, or at least we thought. Unfortunately, it was all recorded and live on TV.
Is
So
it
you
still on
can.
YouTube somewhere?
I hope not. I hope so. But yeah, like if you listen back, you know what I mean? It's like, what? And if you look back, it's like, no, no. Maybe get inspired with it and then create in
Yeah.
your own space. Um, but like for me anyway, that that served nothing except from like a faster heartbeat and super excitement. Like I was so excited. But then back in the day, I shifted to reggae music, into more soulful music and playing live. And I I wouldn't drink. Like for reggae music, I couldn't drink at the same time and play music. It was really like, for reggae music, it was good to smoke. Um, but sometimes I would do like multiple shows a night, and the first one might be like reggae, and the next one is like hardcore metal. So now I'm stoned, coming from a reggae show to like this 90s metal show
Yeah.
where everybody's fucked up on Jack Daniels, and I'm just, yeah man, like Jacob, hey, and everybody's like, and I'm like, no. Paranoid as fuck. Give me Jack Daniels right now. So that, I mean, that was such an upper downer, upper downer, upper downer. I got stopped one time by a SWAT team. SWAT team? SWAT team? Is that what you call it? Yeah. SWAT,
What were they
like
raiding the place? I mean,
dogs. Yeah, I basically was speeding to get from one show to another, and man, such a different chapter of my life now. Anyway, I was caught. Open containers in the car. A bunch
is that
of
you couldn't run very
smoke.
fast because you just baked off your tears?
I mean, I wasn't. Actually, I wasn't even drunk, because I came from a wedding and it was outside. It was really hot, and they offered me a beer, and I only drank half of it. I was like, yeah, it's like I need, like, whatever. But then I went to a reggae show, and yeah, I was stopped, and they found my shit, and I learned a lot from that. I had to do community. This is years ago, of course, right? Like over 10 years ago. I had to do community service, which was actually really great for me, because I loved that environment. I love working with people who are a little bit challenging to deal with, because I come from that hospitality and customer service background. So I find it very exciting to be around challenging people, so to speak. So because everybody there was also in that part of the job,
Yeah.
because they were breaking the law. So, but that creates like another awakening. You're like, wait, I should not really be with these people, because that's not like, I'm not in it. I'm not here because I'm breaking into houses because somebody screwed me over a bag of Coke. This is not where I need to be. So I drastically changed a lot of things, especially over the last 15 years, that eventually have gotten me to where I am now, where it's much more about, and again, mindset. It's all about mindset. The foundational element is learning about mindset, learning about self-development, learning about your vision of the life that you want to live, even the legacy that you want to leave behind, not for ego's sake, but for what that can do for other people and the
Yeah.
people that you leave behind. So that's it's such a drastic difference, but we are here to grow. We're not here to stall. As that's a chorus of mine that I wrote the other day, and yeah, like unless you're never wanting to go out of your bubble and really explore things, which is actually where the most critical people live, right? The people that have never tried, the people that have actually grown a sour taste of success or because they really didn't explore it themselves. um, you will never find a much more successful person discouraging you, you know, but you'll find people that
Yeah.
that you left behind years ago that never went anywhere and say, I don't know, Tommy, I don't think you should do it. You're telling me to not do it? Oh, okay, yeah, no, let's just stay here then.
Yeah, because it makes them feel
What
better
the?
about their own failures.
Yeah.
So for you, what do you think were the main turning points to just shift in that mindset, going from like, right, I've done the kind of music thing, and now I just really want to like step up and level up in life? Do you think it's maybe that you've been through those things? You're like, well, that was cool. I'm done with that now. I want to do something different. Or what do you think was key in wanting to
Mm,
change? Because you have to want to change, don't you?
yeah, you do. There were a few elements actually. Um, I moved continent. Um, I had different needs. I got a daughter. COVID hit as well, which gave me time to kind of really sit and think, okay, what is it that I actually want? You know, I want to make the ultimately, I don't want to burn more time on working hard. I don't mind working hard, but it's got to be smart.
It's got to get results.
Yeah, yeah, mass results and quicker than than the way that I used to do it. I was very burned out with um, writing songs, doing shows at the same time, and then um, the songs that I wrote became festivals, and then organizing those festivals, and then doing radio shows and TV shows and all of that stuff, and the interviews and the meetings with the city officials and the sponsors and all of that stuff. That's a massive undertaking, time wise, and effort as well. It's great. I
Huge
mean,
amount
your
of energy
network,
going into that, yeah.
huge, which was great because I learned a lot. Like, and I met the most amazing and beautiful people that exist in your community right now as well. Whoever's listening to this, those people exist. If you think that this world is like going downhill spiral fast, it's not. There's a lot of beautiful things that are happening in your community. You just need to jump. You just need to acknowledge it, understand it, and then you eventually you will believe it. So the reason why I wanted to do it was because, or why I wanted to one start earning a lot more, was because I did not want to do and spend all that time driving around and meeting all these people. My goal is to set up my own foundation, right? That is a part of my vision. So there I can work from, and there I can have my team, and there I can, you know, basically fulfill my vision when it comes to the charity element of my four whys, of my um, of my personal four whys, of my four personal
The
pillars.
reasons for
Actually,
doing things, yeah, the why.
yeah, the purpose. Yeah, yeah, exactly, the why. And so I realized, and I've always been entrepreneur minded. I've always loved the creativity behind being an entrepreneur, and because it gave me energy. It gave me energy to communicate with people and to create things and to create a business, whether it would fail or not. Well, it would, like, you know, we would, like, we've literally just I've just dissolved a company, you know, in the UK, with something that we tried, and it didn't work out. Cool. Well, we changed our mind. Next.
Yeah, not everything's going to work. Apparently, one in
Yeah.
10 businesses fail, even for like successful entrepreneurs. Like, you just got to keep trying stuff because
Yeah.
you can't just do
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
thing and keep plugging away at it if it doesn't work.
Yeah. Don't be too disheartened. I was very disheartened with that particular one, and I realized how deep I was emotionally. But there was also there was other things happening in that as well, where um, where things were, yeah, just get rid of it. You know, we just got rid of it, and said, okay, it didn't work out. Cool. Next. Really, like, literally that easy. You know, if a band doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. What's the point in, you know, kicking this dead horse? No, stop wasting your time with these people that are not willing to. It's probably people
Yeah.
that are probably not wanting to change, and they probably don't have the same vision as you, the same whatever. Just build your own thing, do your own thing. That's kind of where I was anyway. like because I was already like that entrepreneur minded, trying to go forward in life, and like seeking for, for the next level of life, and like where if I was a flower, I was ready to bloom, but I was being held back to stay in my cocoon. That rhymes.
You are a beautiful flower.
And being held back, I was like, no, go. So it actually ended up in like losing some friends out of that as well, because there was frustration from their side, frustration from my side. And but it needed to happen for, for me to become the person who I want to become in life, and everyone deserves that. They deserve that too.
Yeah.
They should not be dragged into the wrong direction just because of me.
Yeah, and you'll have all
So
learnt something mutually from that. You've all got experiences and things that you need to get from it, and then it's just the time to then go your separate
yeah,
ways on that.
yeah, absolutely, and just let it go. I mean, we had like a few thousand people on Facebook followers and whatever. Uh, I'm, I'm not gonna be tied down to numbers here. You know what I mean? Like, we had songs out and beautiful, beautiful creations, really, absolutely fantastic. But like, I don't want to die of stress. You know, I don't.
Yeah, it really does take a toll on you, doesn't it? And it's a real cumulative damage.
Yeah. I also refuse to work with assholes. Like anyone that's like that that I know, and that was the last 3 years of my life in the States when I was still full time there. It's like I realized how damaging it was to work with the wrong people, even if they were great players or great producers, sound engineers. It's like I'm just not feeling this, just not feeling this. And then eventually, I just came clean to myself and said, "Nope, I'm not accepting this. I'm not even gonna take this gig, even though I need it, because you're a douche." Like at one point, I was playing in front of certain flags that were at that time were very controversial,
Bit spicy, yeah.
and I played guitar in front of the flag, and I was like, "Damn it, what the fuck am I doing here?" Like I was very vigilant with cameras and phones being pulled out and stuff like that. I
Right.
kept on
Yeah.
jumping behind the monitor, like the speakers, like hiding. I was like, what the fuck? I should have just said, no, man,
Yeah.
here I am, like doing this for whatever it was, $100. It's just horrible. You gotta choose your people. You choose your people. You choose your destiny. You choose your vision. Start working on your vision, create a mission, and just go after it, you know? And it might actually not have to do anything with music. What not doing it in the music has created for me has created much more inspiration now to sit down and write, and actually, you know actually play the piano for a change, and construct songs, and sit down of what I'm learning right now. Like I don't have the stress to worry about where my next gig is going to come from, for
Yeah.
example, or my drive there, or my loading, or my load out, my load in, my the being able to afford something, and then the practicing, which, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the music element, but everything that surrounds it, I was just kind of done with it for then, and I was very disheartened. I was very unmotivated and very I lost my passion. I remember doing one of my last shows on stage in the States. I was standing there doing some kind of a country cover, and it was my time to do the solo, and I was like, fuck no, it's $350 for the show, but please take my money, let me pack up my shit, get back into the car and smoke a cigarette while my window's down driving home, please. I
This
don't want
is
to do it.
yeah, this is very hard for sort of like non-musicians to understand, because sometimes like they look, looking in, they're like, oh wow, you're doing gigs and things like, but you can get really burnt out, and it does become a job, because again, this is going back to what we were saying earlier about the sort of suffering artist, because ideally you'd be playing the type of music you want to play with the people you want to play with and get paid for it, and that's super rare. So
Yeah,
quite often you have to take other side things, so you might be playing in bars or like weddings or corporate functions and other things, so you're sort of a hired hand, which is, again, it is better than stacking food in a supermarket shelf. No respect to anyone that's doing that right now, but you know,
Sure.
it's definitely better than some jobs, and I've done loads of sort of odd jobs and things, but it does become a job as well, and because it's not at your passion. Again, trying to explain, let's say if you were a chef and you're basically doing sandwiches during the day, you know, people are like, oh yeah, but you like cooking food, and like, this isn't really cooking food, you know, it's not using your skills as much, and your passion isn't there, and then you're just doing it for the money, and then yeah, you can just get burned out. And then even things like just driving to the gig, which can be quite long to get there, unloading all the gear, doing the whole thing, it's a whole day's work, and then pack up, drive 2 hours sometimes when you're knackered at 1 in the morning. So,
Yep.
and even if you'd got like a residency gig, like you play in a hotel or a cruise ship, like it can be fun for a while, but then you're literally doing it every day, and then you just like just grinding it out, and like you need to be able to play a certain amount of hours a day, and then you just the passion goes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really want to be doing this, like, and quite often if people on holiday or they're drunk, they're not even listening. They don't care, you don't care, and it's like it's so
Or they're giving
different
you
to.
cheers, or they're giving you cheers for like that's false, boosting your ego
Or if it's
because it's ten
material you
o'clock at night
don't
because you're
like
drunk.
and they like it, and you're like, yeah, this song's shit, and you're like, oh, it's really good, and you're like I hate Status Quo, just for example, like, or like I've played
Yeah.
a lot of Adele music, and like it's not really my thing to play it, so you're just playing that, the people either like it or don't, and like you don't even care, and it's yeah, so you can get burnt out in the same way as if you're doing like a regular 9 to 5 job, because it's just
It
not
is.
the sort of, and especially I found when I was doing a lot of the cruise stuff, the music's very easy to play, and like I like quite difficult music and quite intricate guitar parts and things, when a lot of that's not required, you know, in an afternoon pool set, you know. But you feel your skills going a bit rusty, and then it's like, okay, well, I could do some practice outside of that. I've got some time to do that, but then too tired, or let's go to the beach and get drunk instead. You know, we could put some new songs in, but we'd have to rehearse, and like can't be asked. So
And
you just
also,
fall into this like and that's not why you started.
no, yeah, yeah. Do not be phased by cheering and or criticism, because if you're relying on your ego to be filled, you're going to be extremely sensitive to criticism. Do not rely on either. They're both false. Just do what you love. Don't rely on people, on people's praise, because it's not worth it in the long run. Because if you're doing it for that particular reason, then at the end of your life, at 85 years old, you're going to have that regret. You're going to be like, yeah, I did it for the wrong reason. So if you already know that, then don't even, go there.
I think yeah, with the starving artists, because they're kind of looking long term already, even though from their like narrow position, but it's like they still want to look back and say, yeah, well, I did my thing, even though if it didn't work or didn't get a lot of money, like I always did my thing. I was true to it. So there's
Right.
truth in that,
Yeah.
but then it's you're not looking at the complete picture. Then you can be successful and abundant whilst doing that as well. Although, like you said, sometimes you have to like step back for a little while, adjust what you're doing, and then build other things. So then you can do that.
Yeah. 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 And create things that create revenue, right? Create things that, one, you are passionate about, and then two, that is going to create an income. So like another stream of income, and it doesn't have to be multiple streams of income straight away. Don't get too diluted into the multiple aspects, but get so like for instance, I love high ticket affiliate marketing. This is not a pitch, but I got to go there for a minute.
Can you just
Why do
briefly
I love that?
explain what that is? Because a lot of
So
people listening won't know what that is.
So, okay. So first, affiliate marketing is you are a third party between the product and the client, right? So the person who's looking for something, you are the one who's providing that. So that is called an affiliate for something, right? And then the high ticket, which in Google is a definition of $1,000 and
Or
up.
more, yeah.
Yeah. Under that, it's mid ticket or low ticket. So $45, for example, for a commission, it's low ticket. Yeah, it could be seen mid ticket. If you're used to 50, right, per commission, then 45 is kind of, it's decent. But if you're used to $2,000 sales, like for me, for example, and I'm selling a $50 thing, and I'm only getting 10% of that, let's say $5, I would have to sell 10,000 of those to make one sale that I normally make. You know what I mean?
It's like driving a
So
Ferrari and you sell toy cars. You've already leveled
it's
up.
like, no, like, yeah, like unless you're introducing people to the business, then you want to introduce, low ticket first, then mid ticket, and now you're going up to the 10Ks, etc. Or the two or the five or the tens or even the 20s or the 40s or even more. Like the sky is absolutely limitless when it comes to selling stuff. Like people are selling yachts, right? Let's just be realistic there. So for me, whenever I went into the online marketing thing and I tried it out and I saw how much people were making, I wanted to do that, but I didn't want to do it heartless. So I realized that I could help other people earn tons of money by introducing this to the right people, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, I am earning. Yeah. At the same time, exactly. It's got to be something that creates success for other people. Otherwise, what the fuck am I doing? So then I realized that I could make these commissions, which is high ticket, which is, I guess it's a new term since internet or whatever, since this whole like online world. So high ticket affiliate marketing. That's what I went into because suddenly I realized, wait a minute, I see my friends struggling. Guys, did you know that this shit exists? And they're like, huh? Or they were like, hell yeah, I know about it. What you got? And I'm like, well, look at this thing. And then they're like, yeah, man, let's do it. Here you go. Here's $2,000. No commissions. Another 2,000, another 2,000, another 2,000. So then it just comes down to being able to position yourself as a business owner / brand. Actually, I'm a brand.
I think as
I'm
well,
not.
a very important thing is, again, going back to mindset. The Harvecker, I actually went to one of the seminars in London like years back, and he talks about the financial thermometer, was the blueprint. So saying like
The financial thermostat.
yeah, so you're basically in this kind of like one level of earning, and it's you need to be comfortable with more money, because people have their sort of, there are different points on the thermostat, for example. So some people, lottery winners, will get a lot of money and then lose it because they have that mindset of small money, whereas some people could be rich and like lose $1 billion and they get it back again because they're used to being in that area. So it does take a lot of personal work to be able to like crank yourself up the levels to be comfortable with doing that, because if you're not resonating with that, even if it does come along, you won't vibe with it, so to speak, and then you won't be able to operate on that level and it doesn't work for you. So
Yeah,
and a lot of people, again, struggling musicians, are in that low level. Have you got any advice for getting yourself leveling up into a better zone on that?
I would immediately today, right now, straight after this call, buy Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. It's and it's a bestseller as well. It's got all of the credential, behind it. Like you say, it is about the financial thermostat, which is basically what you're used to, right? But what you're used to is also something that you believe.
And it's holding yourself back because you still see yourself on that, let's say, bottom level of the ladder, and you need to
Yeah,
go up.
yeah, yeah. So my number for the year is 333,000, right? Like I've done the math that if you take the 40% off for taxes, let's just talk about like the boring shit for a minute. 40% will be taken off for taxes. 40% has to go to investment for you to become financially free. You only have 22%. Sorry, you only have 20% left for your bills, for your food, for your holiday, for your car, for your insurances, for everything you do every day anyway, your rent, your mortgage, all that shit, 20%. So if you go for, let's say, 100,000, right? And these are numbers, these are real numbers.
Yeah, yeah.
This is happening in that world, okay? If you have 100, if you want to become a millionaire, I have $1 million. Okay, 40% is going to go to taxes. 40% is going to go to investment. You're left with 20%, which is 200,000. Sorry, what did you say? You're a what?
Yeah,
I was once a millionaire. Now I'm at 200,000. So that's where your financial thermostat is basically, is you need to be earning 5 times more to like after all expenses, right? So not just that 20%. That 20% needs to be a part of your expenses, right? And then after that, so if you want to become a millionaire, right, and you want to remain being a millionaire, one, you have to learn about investment, which also Secrets of the Millionaire Mind is great advice, and T. Harv Eker's private tuition as well. Once you get going with it, you'll be addicted, and you'll be like, yeah, this makes complete sense.
And it's
this
how to manage and portion your income up, isn't it? Like put some here, put some here, do this, put this expenses, so you're managing it properly.
Yeah, exactly. So if you want to remain being an entrepreneur, if you want to remain being a millionaire, your number, if you want to keep 1 million every year, let's say, if you want to be a millionaire, you got to remain being a millionaire, or unless you just want to do it one time and just say, hey, I did it, and then go back to your 9 to 5, which I don't know why you would want to do that. But you've got to earn 80% more, right? So that 20% is at the 1 million. Okay, so if you want to live a millionaire's life, that's what you should be aiming for. Of course, it is unrealistic to straight away say, okay, well, how about 500 million? Okay, 500 million. Okay, but but why? Why? What is your why? What are your whys? What is your vision? And how are you going to get there? Break that down. Break down what you want, like where you want to get to. Break it down step by step, and then start from the beginning and start saving money. And money management is really important. Money management is also explained in Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker.
All right, thanks, man. Yeah, great to talk to you again. And again, this is something that a lot of creative people struggle with, is shifting into a business mindset, and just even like the motivation to shift into a business mindset. So yeah, lots of value in there. Is there any links you'd like to share, or should we put them in the description?
Yeah, just go to TommyBOIII.com.
Awesome.
And go to the contact me, and if you want to brainstorm ideas or whatever, or if you need advice, books or readings or financial advice or whatever, just hit me up there at TommyBOIII.com.
And Tommy can put you on the path to success. He can help you personally, and also has a podcast called Coffee with Tea, which is worth checking out.
Yeah, man. Rastafari.
All right, nice one. Speak to you later, man.
Later. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody, for being here today. Bye.
Thanks for listening. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook and YouTube, and do let us know what you think in the comments. Would you like to earn money with no effort at all, simply by having your phone on? The data's being sold around the world anyway, and the Tapestry app helps you take a cut. Link in the show notes.